Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is HeroQuest, and today I would love to give you a look at QuestExpansion, The Empire's Last Gleaming, a quest book by Craig A. Leslie. This was given to me as a gift, so thank you very much, Craig, for your kind gift. Very shiny cover. Let's get a closer look at the art, and then the back, which is blank save for the repeating texture of our familiar skull, shield, and black shield icons. I like that. The Empire's Last Gleaming is, as the introduction here on the first page describes, a fan quest book designed to be played after the core and current expansions. Originally created in 2015, updated in 2023, it can be played with either version of the game, requires no additional miniatures or tiles, and cards will be freely available online to download, or in the booklet as references. See links at the back of the book for options. This expansion contains 11 quests, 2 monster cards, 3 artifact cards. Quests will total 13 through its main campaign. So, one more thing I'd like to show real quick. We'll turn to the back of the book before we get to the meat of the quests. And this gives you a bit of information by Craig Leslie. This is a remake of his 2015 quest book, fully reworked and balanced out and playable using the classic or new version of the game. You can find more quests at his itch.io link, which I'm actually going to link in the description below for you. My second quest book, originally named The Sea of Claws, will be reworked and completed soon. It will be a smaller expansion, including new boards, tiles, monsters, and the quest book, and should be completed by the end of 2023. More information of this quest book will be detailed on the Old Inn Facebook group. So then we just have some attributions, the map and the icons created using HQuest Builder, and you can join the Old Inn, and you can also check out nightcafe.studio if you need artwork, as well as zealotminiatures.com if you need certain miniatures. So let's take a look and give a bit of an overview, I'll say, of some of the first quests. So this is going to contain spoilers for the first, we'll say, few quests. Not sure how many yet. We'll see what they're like and continue on until I feel that's appropriate. And the intro to the book. I will also go ahead and go through some of these descriptors that occur whenever you get a new expansion. Ogre Warriors. Players may choose the classic or new max number of body points of the ogres before beginning the quest in which they appear. 10 for the classic or 5 for the new versions. Be sure to write them down and track them accordingly. So this is definitely after the Mage of the Mirror was released with its new 5 body point ogres. New furniture, the fountain. When heroes have located a fountain, they may drink from it. This will replenish lost body and my points. Drinking again from the fountain may trigger a wandering monster. The entity becomes enraged and will attack you. If players defeat the fountain entity, the water evaporates, leaving nothing to consume. Its stats and card can be found at the back of the book. Additionally, locations are marked in the quests. If players are struggling, it's recommended to allow another few uses of the fountain as they progress through each quest. Doors. It is recommended that players have plenty of additional doors. Most quests require more than the number given in a single core set. Ah, yes. The eternal door problem. Wandering monsters. Players must gather all their monster cards into a single deck, custom or otherwise. When a wandering monster is picked from the treasure deck, no matter how weak or strong, it must be played and placed. This will add an additional level of difficulty and random chance to the quest. Players can choose to remove any powerful enemies considered as bosses from the deck if they choose. This rule allows players to add their own custom monsters to the quest without changing too much or keeping to the core monsters from previous expansions. So this is allowing you to take all of the monsters from all of the sources, whether they are expansions or your own homebrew or what have you, and allowing you to go ahead and remove any that you think would be too difficult. I would say like the Frozen Horror, for example, would not be an appropriate use of a wandering monster, but hey, it's your game, and that would be truly horrific. And whenever you draw a wandering monster card, instead of referring to the quest to see who the wandering monster is, you will actually draw from the monster deck. I like that. I think that that's pretty cool. It's a bit strange though. It does mean that any monster could appear at any time in any quest. So, interesting that. Friends, allies, and mercenaries. At the start of this quest, each champion is allowed at least one ally or mercenary for free. They can heal each when they are low on health at any time. When their body points reach 0, they are killed and must be removed from play. And Trader. Remaining out of sight in this dangerous area, you may be lucky enough to find a wandering trader within the bastion. Stock up on potions and buy new allies, mercenaries, sell your unwanted equipment for better items, or to even the odds as you manage to complete the task ahead. Many quests actually have multiple exits and will offer alternate paths. The groups must determine with each other what path to take. It may result in finding new treasures, bosses, and entire new areas. That is really cool. I like that. Reinforced Gargoyle. In this quest, the Gargoyle has been upgraded. It is even tougher. You can fight or run at any time. Champions that run from any sorcerer in this quest or take one on and fails to slay it results in the sorcerer fully healing and summoning a Gargoyle to strengthen his or her defense. Corrupted Mercenaries. Many of the Grimeham's remaining army have been corrupted. They follow mostly the same stats and rules as previous expansions. One rule change for this quest: crossbowmen and women once adjacent with any champion or champion's ally will discard its crossbow for a short sword and a shield for their close combat battle. Body points must remain the same. If attacked by champions from range, any deducted points must remain the same for that monster. Only its attack and defense may be changed. So, we are now ready to take a look at the new monsters. There is the Fountain Demon and the Reinforced Gargoyle. The Fountain Demon can move 1 square. It has 5 attack die, 2 defend die, 5 body, and 5 mind. The Reinforced Gargoyle can move 10 squares, has 6 attack die, 6 defend die, 6 body points, and 2 mind. And new artifacts. The new artifacts include the Dagger of Volkstein, the Grimoire Volkstein, and the Abagor's Butcher. The Dagger of Volkstein allows the hero to roll 2 combat die, and a successful roll of 2 skulls inflicts paralysis, which stops the enemy from attacking, defending, and moving for its next turn. That's cool. I like that. The Grimoire of Volkstein allows any hero to start with an additional spell set. If none are available, you may choose a set to cast twice. You must declare which. Nice. And Abagor's Butcher. The stained axe of the enemy allows the champion to attack twice. You may roll 2 combat dice for each roll. It may not be used by the wizard. Alright, we will check out the first quest after I read the opening to the campaign. Or you can skip ahead if you want to see the first quest. Greetings, champions. It is good to see you all again. I require battle-hardened champions to take on a troublesome cult that have caused much distress in the east. A high-ranking brute has gathered forces and has of late completed his full destruction of the town Grimeham. His dark magics have turned the townspeople into his mindless slaves. He plans to continue growing and marching out from his bastion in the Fayvale Mountains to every settlement and town close by. We have dispatched our armies to block and face them head-on, but this is just the beginning. There have been many attempts to gain further knowledge of his plans, but those that dared to face his evil have failed to escape. We were only able to receive partial news and rumors of this unique foe from horrified onlookers. He is reinforcing his army with an unknown material. I find it reasonable to believe these were the monsters that had proved overwhelming for Grimeham. If he succeeds in completing this plan of bolstering his army with this, our weapons and magics may not be enough to beat this cult. I see through Lore Tome that this cult has many sorcerers throughout the Bastion, casting these magics and perfecting its potency on those dormant within. Putting a stop to them will weaken the link and eventually the chain. How long its effects last afterward is not known, if they will dissipate at all. All perpetrators must be destroyed. Our armies are on their way to seek the forces that have already been dispatched. Should you fail, we can only hope we prove more than a match to this evil. No matter the number, no matter the cost, prepare yourselves. Make way to the Fayvale Mountains. And it is signed with the seal of Mentor. And now, Quest 1, the Bastion of Volkstein. This is a nice total half of one side of the board quest, closed off at the sides. We don't have a lot of quest notes, we just have 5, and I really actually like that a lot. It keeps things clean, it keeps things easy to start, it keeps things simple. Champions, the opening reveals the entryway into the Bastion. This iron stronghold, Skywrath, holds twisted, evil's followers of chaos. Each section full with its own perils and treasures, a vast labyrinth interconnected with each other. How deep you traverse, what secrets you may find, no matter what path you take, the end will always lead to Kalok. While we take care of his roaming armies laying siege outside of their domain, we rely on you to end his plans here. There are many sorcerers at work here. Be wary. quest notes for A. A is right here in the center room, which you are likely to enter early after beginning the quest. You encounter the first of many reinforced gargoyles. This hardened foe is much stronger than previous gargoyles. Added strength and defenses and stats can be found on page 3 of the booklet. You can attempt to run, but it will pursue you relentlessly. Okay, very well. There's also a horde of orcs, so it's not stated explicitly, but I do believe we're going to start here where the 4 X's are. We've got arrows coming into the map. We've got our 4 X's, an immediate pit trap. Jerk. An immediate spear trap, come on. And already mercenaries found throughout this quest. It looks like we do have 3 exits in this first quest that we can take. But we'll move on to quest note B, and that is here. After you successfully find a secret door, there is a chest in that tiny room. This chest contains a spell scroll. You may pick 1 spell scroll from the artifact card set. Really nice. So you just get to pick one. And then C, which is over here at the alchemist's table, which is being used by 2 goblins. They're trying to make candy. You search the room and uncover a bottle of strength in the drawer of the alchemist's bench. Quest note D is here, and we can see that there is the Chaos Sorcerer icon in front of the Sorcerer's table, as well as a chest. Quest note E is also here. Quest note D reads, the chest contains 100 gold coins. Gold coins found within the dungeon may be split between the champions at the searcher's discretion. And E, you encounter Cult Sorcerer Skywrath. His stats are as follows. So to me that reads 8 movement points, 3 attack, 2 defense, 6 body, and 4 mind. He uses 4 chaos spells that must be randomly chosen from the deck. Failing to eliminate a sorcerer will result in a gargoyle being called to defend its master. Rules that were, of course, outlined in the beginning of the book. A fine first quest. It's not too busy, and yet there is something going on in every single room. There's a lot of activity, and yet it seems like it's very systematic. Like, you're not really going to delve too much into a bunch of dead ends and wasted pathways. You're really going to be making progress no matter how you go about it. Although it would be pretty easy to tackle this lower left wing, it does reward you with any spell scroll that you might like from the artifact deck. A good trial for this campaign. Quest 2 is called Blood and Iron. This section has multiple exits. Your group must work together and choose the path to travel. Sorcerers work in large numbers within the bastion, creating and enhancing gargoyles. If you cross them, it is best to defeat each of them before they can call in more gargoyles to hunt you. The deeper you venture, the heavier the presence. This tells you that the exits that you take at the end of quests matter, because these 3 entrances to this quest are very different routes, and while your warriors may wish to go ahead and explore every single square inch, every single tile in order to determine what the other paths would have been like, if they're not trying to die repeatedly and get TPKs, it is wise for them to just continue on their route and search for the exit. If they wish to discover it later, this actually gives the quest a lot of replay value, because this is what they meant when they said, no matter what path you take, the end will always lead to K-Lock. It is worth noting as well that there are going to be exits in some of the maps now, multiple exits along the side of a given board, and when you leave, that actually determines the quest that you will continue on with. So if you leave out the west exits, this will actually get you to quest 3, the Mines of K-Lock, while if you leave out the south, it will lead you to quest 5, the Butcher of Grimeham. That is really cool. That means that all of the maps are interconnected, and the route that you take in a given playthrough could be very, very different indeed from a successive playthrough. One way I would use this book is a sort of legacy book. You could go through with one party of heroes and go ahead and just cross out, not damaging your book, I would make a photocopy, but cross out any enemies that the party has killed. And then if they want to come through with a second party or a fresh party, they could do that, and they could take alternate routes or whatever, but they could go ahead and just ignore whatever enemies are crossed out. Those were enemies that were slain by the previous party. Your fresh party could go in and try to clean up any stragglers after the events of the campaign take place. Just an idea. So now I've got to see if a hunch that I'm getting is right. These maps are fairly large. They're taking up a lot of space on the board, and there's a lot of activity. So I would prepare for some long sessions with these quests. Quest 3 is the Mines of Kalok, and that's where the western exits of the previous quest would lead. The top or the bottom, depending on where you exited, you'll be dumped out in one of these routes, and then you may play until you are able to leave through the south exit. And when they said the deeper you go into the mines, the heavier the presence, that was true. There are actually 2 sorcerers in this map instead of 1 in the previous maps. Okay, so when you leave out the bottom, that should take you to Quest 4. And then just as I suspected, the exits in Quest 4 that are on the right side of the map will actually take you to Quest 5, which you could have gone into if you had just left through the south in Quest 2. However, this quest also splits into 2 different routes. If you leave through the east exits, you'll be taken to Quest 5, the Butcher of Grimeham, and if you leave through the south exit, you'll be taken to Quest 6, A, the Choking Darkness. And from there, we move on to the final quests, which have a little bit of a weave to them, but ultimately end with the final showdown with Kalok. This was a really cool quest book to read through and explore, and if I ever get a party together that has completed the base game as well as all of the expansions, I will absolutely be taking on this quest book. Until then, some of the ideas in this quest book might be very valuable to you, and as a reminder, you can go check out Craig's free quest content over on his itch.io page. Again, linked in the description below. Thank you very much again, Craig, for this gift. It's really, really cool. And to the rest of you, thank you very much for watching. Comment anything you like down below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, onward, brave heroes.